Is coming not.
All right, we are live. We are here, and we say hello, good evening, and welcome, 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 welcome. So happy to be here. Excited. How are you doing, Coach Pache?
I am fine. I am well. I have no complaints.
No complaints, right? We're alive. There's no reason to complain. We are happy to be alive. So we're just going to chat for a few minutes because we're excited about this show tonight. Are you excited?
Yes, yes,
I
yes.
am. I am. Every time I get the opportunity to talk about this topic, I am excited. And so
Yes, this is your lane. This is what you love to talk about. So,
I do. But you know why I like to talk about
got to
this?
set the captives free. All right, I'm going to be serious.
For those of you who don't know, my daughter has a moonlighting job. She's a comedian. She is a comedian. In case you didn't know, I'm letting you know now that she is a comedian. I'm going to set the captives free. Listen, you know, this is something that I fell in love with. You know that I'm excited about it. And I believe, and I've been told that I am qualified to have this master class. And the reason I wanted you to join me, number one, because you're my sidekick on in these YouTube streets, right?
Oh, yeah, on Tuesday nights. Tuesday nights.
Tuesday nights, we rocking and rolling and doing a whole lot of teaching and giving information. And so tonight is a special night. Today is a special day. Today is Good Friday, and a lot of people are in churches, at home, and taking their communion. I've had my communion early this afternoon, me, myself, and I, and the Lord. And it's a great night. It's a great weekend coming up. I know that some folks are going to come in, and if they don't, I know that this is going to bless whoever looks at it. Don't you think so?
Yes, yes. If
Very.
if you're at the stage of your life where you want to get to know yourself better and understand why you react the way that you react, or you want to understand your behaviors.
Hmm. That's true. That's true. And I think we should always be at that stage, right?
Right.
You don't think
Absolutely.
that should ever turn off, right? We should always be wanting to know more about ourselves and tweaking ourselves, don't you think?
Absolutely, because as the world evolves, we should evolve. The world is always changing. We should always be evolving. Not only that, we serve a moving God.
Right. Absolutely.
God is a moving
Absolutely. So,
God.
those of you who have just joined in, we got Mama D Gray. Hey, family, let's put her comment up. This is our home girl. This is Deb. She's been on the platform a couple of times, and tonight she's with us. So, hey, Deb. Me and Pache is here, and we're chopping it up a little bit before we jump into the meat of the conversation. We are glad you are in the house. We are
Yeah.
glad. And Pache, what was you just saying?
I was sharing that it's very important to know your temperament because
Right.
it gives an explanation of why you react or behave in the manner that you do. It
Right.
also lets you know there's nothing wrong with you. It
That's
gives
a big one.
insight to know that this is how God wired you.
That's a
And
big one.
yeah, so it may not be all good things that you hear because we're human.
Right.
However, when those triggers do arise, you do know yourself. So by
Right.
learning your temperament, you know how to react to
Right.
situations. Learning your temperament, you know when you're going against something you don't believe in or something your spirit is not in tune with.
Right. And also, with temperaments, we violate ourselves and we allow other people to violate us. And we
Right.
have our bravette in the house. Two bravettes.
Hey.
Nay. Hi, Nay. She is so sweet. And we got Deb, we got Nay, we got some folks on Facebook. So tonight is going to be special. And you're right. We need to be in tune with ourselves. We need to understand how we're wired, why we do what we do, or why we don't do what we need to do. It goes both ways, right?
Yeah, because it's funny because when I took mine, it gave me insight and you as well to why I swing back and forth.
As my
We're,
daughter,
we're getting to that later, but
good
that's something I had
point.
to learn about myself. One minute I'm over here, and the next minute I'm over here.
Good point. I'm so glad you mentioned that. I forgot that, even as a child, when, yeah, you're right, to understand you as my daughter, not how I want you to be, had to understand how you're wired. And that helped so much for me to understand. I was like, oh man, the light bulb went off. And then when the information came, I was like, oh, that is so her. And you was like, oh my God, that is me, that type of thing. And it is just, that I'm in love with teaching this. And anyone that comes in for counseling, this is a prerequisite. They have to take this because it saves a counselor 10 sessions, because it gives the information to the person as well as to the person that's trying to help the person, and you skip over a lot of stuff.
And it also gives life back to the person.
Oh, the light bulb, like I
So you're
said.
not living your life aimlessly.
Yes,
Now you
yes,
need to focus your purpose. Now you know
absolutely.
what drives you.
Yeah,
Now you know out of
you're
whack.
you're right. You know what I found out too for myself, that we're all trying to, why can't wait a minute. There you are. Why can't I was figuring, like, why couldn't I put a finger on certain things with myself, right? And I wanted to know why I respond the way I respond, like, and when you're a person, and we're pretty, we're women who know, as far as our jobs and things like that. But in terms of our personal relationships and our understanding ourselves, we want to understand. I think every person wants to be able to put that finger on
Yes.
them and go, oh, because that's what I see. Oprah has the aha moment. I have the oh moment when they go, oh.
Right.
When I see that, I'm like, they got it. And then what you said earlier, then you stop beating yourself up, right? You stop holding
Thinking
yourself,
something's wrong with you.
thinking something's wrong with
Actually,
you.
there's nothing wrong with you. It's
Right.
just the way that you're wired.
It's the way that you're
Now
wired.
you know how to deal with yourself
Absolutely. Absolutely.
and
It's so,
understanding, like, okay, it's nothing wrong with me.
it's not, that's what I love. I
It's not
love the fact when I got the answer, there's nothing wrong with me. There's
right,
nothing wrong with me. This is how I'm wired. I have to learn how to work with myself.
right.
I have to learn my strengths and my weaknesses. I have to stop letting people violate me and me violating myself, right? Because a lot of times we allow people to violate us, but we violate ourselves as well.
Absolutely. And it goes back to what we were talking about Tuesday, self-awareness.
That all
So it's
day,
right in tune when we were
all
talking about
day.
introvert and extrovert.
I'm not distracted. I'm trying to
Yeah.
get the
So if
Facebook.
if you're an introvert, you don't want to be in the clubs, you don't want to be in the parties. You can actually be an introvert and be a public figure. But that's just what you do. It's not who you are. So
Right.
once you perform or you entertain, it's like, okay, I need to go back and be by myself. And
Yeah.
some people may not understand that because, like, you just got off the stage. You
Right.
just finished from being in the public's eye. What do
Right.
you want to be by yourself? That's what I
Right.
do. It's not who I am.
And that's the thing we're going to talk about tonight, because you can't really guess someone's temperament. I can, because this is what I do. But in study, right, in school, they don't like you to guess. Why? Because there's a blend. We all have blends.
Right.
So, let's see what Ine is saying. Self-sabotaging is my best friend for a while. Yeah, I get
Was
it.
was.
I
I'm glad
get
it
it.
was my best friend. So
Yeah,
that
I
means
get it,
hey,
Ine.
got it. She said it was past tense.
Was my best friend for a while.
Mhm.
Yes, yes, absolutely. I understand that totally, right? And the more we learn, the more we understand, and the more we accept our strengths and our weaknesses and our needs and our wants, the better off we are as people and as women. And so tonight is going to be an awesome class, a master class that I'm so excited to do. And I'm going to try to be off by 7, because I know some people want to, it's Good Friday. And some folks may want to do a church service, or I'm just conscious. So let me
So
pull
let's jump
Facebook.
on in.
Let me pull I'm just trying, because I don't like to ignore our Facebook folks. So let me try to get our Facebook going over here. You can talk a little bit.
Oh, okay. Well, I can say, and I will attest to the temperament, that is something I believe that everyone should take, and it's for self growth. is to understand yourself. And
Absolutely.
it gives clarity. And then it also helps you interact with others.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I can't get this page up, so I'm just going to go ahead and jump on. All right. So we have somebody else, and uh, I have to get in the habit of calling her Mama D. You know, I call her Deb because we've been friends for over 50 years. She said, at this ripe old age, I am still learning myself. You never stop. We
Yeah.
never stop. We
Always.
should never get bored with ourselves and settle and stop. We should never get bored and say, oh, I know enough and there's no reason for me to learn anything else.
Well, here's the
Absolutely.
thing, no one knows everything.
Right.
And like I said, the world is always evolving. So as
Right.
the world evolves, there's going to be new things that
Absolutely.
manifest.
Yes.
So
Yes.
once that happens, how do you evolve with the things that's going on?
Yeah.
How do you fit yourself into a world now that's evolving? We can just even look at the past 2 years.
Absolutely. You can gauge it.
Everybody had to change and adjust and just
Yeah.
figure it out.
You can gauge. Yeah, you need to gauge the growth. Am I growing? Am I not? Why am I not? What do I need to change? Because guess what? When nothing changes,
Right. Nothing
nothing
changed.
changes. Yeah. So let's jump into the temperament master class. Let's jump into. So first, I'd like to say thank you. Not yet, Cokes. Thank you for tuning into this master class. I believe it's gonna help you and give you some answers and why you do what you do. And most of you know that my name is Sheila Ingram. And tonight I'm flowing as a pastoral clinical counselor. And I have my sidekick with me, my daughter, Coach Pache. We're going to play the intro and then we're going to jump into it. This master class is to help move you from pain to power and from power to victory. You know how I feel about that. And so I am going to play the intro and then we're going to jump in. Ladies, Bravets, thank you for being here. It's exciting tonight. Let's get into it.
That,
Anything?
yeah. And it went off.
Don't touch it. Okay, hold on.
Just going. There's something going on. So let's just get started.
But I don't want nothing to happen without slides. Let's see. Like the internet. I have
Now,
no idea. Good evening, Sir Hale. Thank you so much for stopping by. You know how he's going to come in and tell people to smash that button. All right. Thank you for being here. He says hello. Let's put his comment up to you because he's greeting you as well, Coach Pache. All right. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, he's so kind. He's so kind. He's so kind. Thank you so much. So we're going to get into now the master class of your inborn temperament. And as we were saying earlier, I got introduced to this some 30 something years ago while I was in counseling. And it changed my life. It really changed my life. And after I finished with counseling, I decided to go to school. My teacher, well, my counselor, who was the CEO of the counseling center, said I needed to do it because he saw that I had turned on like fire from learning about the temperament profile. It changed my life. It gave me understanding as a woman of why I do what I do, why I behave the way I behave, why I choose the men that I choose. And so, and other things, friends, people, places, and things. And so And taking this course, I said, Lord, let me just open up a counseling center, which I did some years ago. And it has changed the lives of so many people. And my daughter, Coach Pache, was just talking about, just give a little bit of what you were saying, how it influenced you.
Um, what I was referring to earlier gave me insight to who I am and why I do the things that I do in certain situations. It let me know that nothing was wrong with me. It's just the way that God wired me.
And also
It-
the behaviors,
right,
right, that we
right,
pick up.
right. The behaviors that we pick up. So it's very instrumental to anyone that takes it,
Right.
because it helps you along the way. It helps you personally, and it also helps you deal and interact in relationships.
Oh, big time.
It helps you set boundaries, because
Yes.
now you're not allowing anyone to violate your temperament,
And you don't violate
and
yourself.
you don't. Right.
Yes, that's awesome. And it's so important for us to understand our strengths, our weaknesses, our needs, and our wants, right? And so on the Christian side of it, God, when you read Psalm 139, he says we're fearfully and wonderfully made, and he knitted us in the womb, the deepest part of our mother, right? And then on the natural side, Hippocrates is the one who really came up with this temperament, and we're going to get into that when we show the slides. And so this is something that even in when people come to counsel, or just friends that don't think they need or don't want counseling, I just encourage them to take this profile, and especially people who are getting married or thinking about being married, because a lot of times people have come into my office to get divorced over crazy stuff, just nonsense, and it's because they didn't understand each other needs and wants and strengths and weaknesses. And we have to understand we're not here to change people. We're here to complement people. We're here to understand how they're wired and how we're wired. And then the compromise comes in, right? So we're going to get in. Princess K is saying, greetings, folks. Hello, happy Friday, happy Good Friday. Good to see you, Princess K. You know how we love your name, Princess K. We love your name. So listen, let's jump into this. The 4 human temperaments. Let me just read a little bit for you, and then we're going to jump into. There are reasons for everything we do as human beings, though it is often difficult for us to understand why we think like we think, feel like we feel, or act like we act in life. Many of the answers for a human behavior can be found in people's temperament or personalities. The study of the human personality goes all the way back to the famous Greek physician Hippocrates. That is 460-370 BC. We know about the BC, before Christ, don't we? We always talk about them BC days,
Right.
don't we? And so they called him the father of medicine. He was born during the prophetic ministries of Nehemiah and Malachi. And what I love about this, while we're in school, and when we go to natural schools and learn about psychology, like you have your degrees, right, Pache? I always, and going to biblical counseling versus natural counseling, secular counseling, you have to take the jewels and leave the junk, right? A lot of times Christians get so deep, they say, oh, I don't need nothing from the world. Lies you tell, because God has given information that we all need to integrate into whatever we're doing in life and whatever situation it is. I see you want to say something.
How about we live in the world?
Yeah, we do live in the world. And so we have to understand, but we know sometimes, no pun intended, we can get in that little bubble, right? That believer's bubble, and get so blinded, because of being so spiritual, right? And so anyway, this happened 450 years before the birth of Christ. So look, even with that, how he manifested this, which now today people use this tool across the world, right? So Hippocrates was very important. So temperaments or personalities is that all of us have been born with genetically inherited behavioral tendencies that are as much a part of our DNA as the color of our hair. And all of us are made up of DNA combinations passed on to us through our parents and ancestors. So our human behavior is shapely equally. Listen, we got to understand that you don't have one temperament, you have a blend. And we're going to get into that in a couple of minutes. So now we have extrovert personalities and introvert personalities. I want you to understand that with these temperaments, you must understand that what impacts your behavior is environmental impact as well as learned behavior. Okay, so let me just put that out there, that I could be one temperament and Pache could be the same temperament, and she could be raised in the suburbs. I could be raised in the hood. Our behavior will be different, where you will look like we don't have the same needs and wants, but inside, internally, we are the same temperament. That's why you can't guess sometimes what a person is. You have to just get this and understand how you're wired. It'll set you free. It'll set you free. Let's see. Ine has a comment I want to put up. Let's see what she's saying. I've heard a saying before, being so spiritually minded, you're no earthly good. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So Pache, let's get into our slides so we can give the meat of this masterclass. Your Inborn Temperament Masterclass with moi, with me. Keep it moving, Cole. Next slide. All right, here we go. So there are 4 temperaments. There's the melancholy, there's the choleric, there's the sanguine, and there's the phlegmatic. The melancholy and the phlegmatic are introverted temperaments. The sanguine and the choleric are extrovert temperaments. Now, when you look to the right, well, maybe your left, the red, I'll say, sanguines, leadership, lively, easygoing, responsive, talkative, outgoing, and sociable. Then you look to the left, and it's the phlegmatic. It's the total opposite: calm, even-tempered, reliable, controlled, peaceful, thoughtful, careful, and passive. Now you move down to the choleric: active, optimistic, impulsive, changeable, excitable, aggressive, and touchy. Then you go to the melancholy, which is the gray area: quiet, unsociable, reserved, pessimistic, sober, rigid, anxious, and moody. Keep in mind, all of these temperaments is based on your learned behavior and your environmental impact, how you were raised, what value system was put in you, how your parents pushed you to do something. For instance, you could be a melancholy child and don't need a lot of people. And because your sister and brothers is out playing in the park, your mother would say, "Oh, why is that boy in that room playing with them G.I. Joe soldiers all day long, every single day? He doesn't need people." Not that he doesn't like people, he doesn't need people in his space. So I don't want to get ahead of myself. I just wanted to give you the 4: the sanguine, the phlegmatic, the choleric, and the melancholy. Now, I want to tell you something about, let's start with, let me see, I want to get into.
You want to get into that? I just want to jump in real quick, because I'm like she said, we're all a blend, and I don't mind sharing. Part of my blend is a melancholy. So I figured out once I took the test why, when I was going to parties and outings that I really didn't want to go to, I felt out of place, because I really didn't want to be there. But again, I was young, I was a teenager. This is what the peers was doing. I'm going to go. But I can say now, after taking it, and as I've gotten older, understanding myself,
Right.
No, I don't do that. Nope. Don't.
In the violation, you were in violation. That's why you were uncomfortable in that space.
Had no idea.
Right. Now, melancholies can go into spaces like that, but they don't need a lot of people. And you're not a total melancholy. I'm not going to tell you, I'm very guarded with people. You don't shout out what person's temperament is, but being that you're sharing, you obviously don't mind. So that part of you, that melancholy, is the part of you that is very relaxed, very reserved. But then you got another side of you that's out there.
Right.
So you're from one extreme to the next. And because you didn't understand that, you didn't understand yourself. You didn't understand your behavior and why you was drawn to one thing and then could be shut down emotionally in another space.
Right.
So you were violating even yourself. But how do we know that if we don't understand how we're wired? The great thing is, when people take this profile, the funny thing is, I let them take it, and then their face go, "Oh my God, how could this be? How did these questions size me up like this?" I said, I had nothing to do with it. You answered your questions, and it's so accurate. This profile is 98% accurate. Statistically, 98%. Hello, LaShonda on Facebook. is
No.
accurate. And that's why I get so excited when I talk about it. It set me free. It allowed me to say what Pache said earlier. There's nothing wrong with me. There's not, you know how many women that constantly find themselves in a cycle, bad relationships, bad or not bad relationships maybe they shouldn't be in, or they went too fast to get into a relationship, marriages they didn't understand. That's why it's so important. Before someone I've married, I don't know how many people I've married in my time, but before I married them, I tell them you have to take a profile. Well, we don't need it. Yeah, you do. And then they take it and they like, oh my God, Miss Sheila, this, oh my God. And they understand each other out the gate. So when they get home and they get married, they both understand each other's needs and wants and strengths and weaknesses. So they're not expecting what a person can't give yet. You don't always say we are all in our not yetness. Let me go on. So let me break down a little bit about the choleric. Let's start with the strongest temperament of the four. The choleric temperament is the leader. The choleric temperament, I mean, straight up leader. You can go on vacation and your friend, and that choleric will run your company, her company, and his company. You come back and the company is going to another level. They are born leaders. Each temperament has strengths and weaknesses. The choleric has a tendency to, how could I say it in a nice way? The choleric can make the other temperaments cringe because they're leaders and they don't like nonsense. They like you to pull your own weight. They are good people, loving people, but at the same time, they're very strong in their way they speak. They have a situation, I'll say, where they have a problem. I will call it a problem because it can be a problem sometimes, where they have to be in control of everything. Cholerics, it's told in teachings that even when the choleric is wrong, they're right.
Right.
So the choleric temperament is fundamentally ambitious and leader-like. The choleric is the strongest of the extroverted temperament and is sometimes referred to as the type A personality, the doer or the driver. He or she is a hard-driving individual known for accomplishing goals. He or she has a lot of aggression and energy and passion and tries to instill it in others. That's one thing that cholerics learn as they learn their temperament, that they don't have to, I can't stop using that word, that it would be nice if they would allow people to grow to where they need to grow to and not want them to be like they are, right? Because this temperament is very strong, very, very strong. Most cholerics are men and born leaders who exude confidence, and they are naturally gifted businessmen, strong-willed, independent, self-sufficient. They see the whole picture, organize well, insist on production, stimulate activity, thrive on opposition, are unemotional and not easily discouraged. I'm not going to read everything, but cholerics, because we have more slides that's going to give you another, a blend of this. And remember, we all a blend. You will never find someone who is 100% choleric. You will find maybe a choleric, phlegmatic, melancholy, or a choleric, sanguine, phlegmatic. There's always a blend going on, which can sometimes confuse people because there's a blend. Imagine the choleric being over here so powerful and strong, but yet they have a high number in melancholy. That means they're like bookends. Go ahead, Pache.
I was just going to say you're stronger in one area, though.
Well,
correct? I mean, you can be more of a choleric. If you're a blend, are you more stronger in one area? So if you're
there's always a top. Yes.
No, that's what I'm saying. There's one that takes precedent over the other.
Well, there's always a top. So when you take the profile, the numbers will come across, and I'll kind of add the numbers up. You will be one dominant. So if you're a dominant choleric and say the number is 20 and you're 18, the next column, melancholy. So right now we know those are your two mains, the choleric, melancholy, which means you're two extremes. So you might be a person who's a choleric melancholy or a melancholy choleric and don't understand why you respond the way you respond, because you're two extremes. One moment you're quiet reading a book, the next minute you're yelling and getting things done in the office. So if you don't know and understand how you're wired, how is someone else going to understand how you're wired?
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Let's talk about the melancholy, being that we brought her in. Miss Melancholy. Miss Melancholy. The melancholy temperament is fundamentally introverted and thoughtful. Melancholies are referred to as the thinker. Melancholies are straight analytical, by the way. Oh, here it is. The analytical personality desire caution and restraint, best at attending to details and in analyzing problems too difficult for others. They are the ones that you go to. Those are the ones that in church, those are the ones that, you'll find a choleric and a sanguine in the pulpit preaching. And he said, and all right, you'll find them because why? They need people. They need the applause. Bah, 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 yay. Melancholy don't need that. They just cool, calm, and collective. If they have an altar call in church, guess who's going to be at the altar with the people? The melancholy. The melancholy will take their shirt off their back and give it to you. They are introverted. Cholerics are extroverted. Let me go on. They tend to be deep thinkers and feelers who often see the negative attributes of life. They can beat themselves up. They can be pessimistic at times, rather than the good and positive things. Hello, Keisha. Good to see you. It's okay that you're late. You're here. They are self-reliant and independent and get involved in what they are doing. Melancholies can be highly creative in activities such as, and here we go, how melancholies, this is their lane. They are very strong in art and literature and music, healthcare and ministry, and become preoccupied with the tragedy and the cruelty of the world. They want to save the world. Melancholies can tend to put themselves on the back burner and want to save the world, which can sometimes get them in trouble because they become codependent. They're trying to save everybody. And this happens with women, women. Oh, he's a good guy. Yeah, he may be a good guy. Well, I need to help him. He needs wait, what? You don't know where to go for a job? Oh, let me look it up for you. Oh, wait a minute. You need what? Oh, you need coffee to go to work. Wait a minute. Let me get it out my bank account, because they want to see the good in a person, but they don't know boundaries. Should I say that again? They don't know boundaries. They have the heart of God. And it's even harder and more difficult if you're a believer. And you know what God says? Love your neighbor as you love yourself, right? And you're a melancholy. So how do you know when to gauge? Well, should I not? Am I? So you're all in. You're just all in. And so melancholies have to be careful, very, very careful with picking up the tragedy of the world. You can be that way, but you have to have boundaries. They long to make significant and lasting difference in the world. They have humanity to the 10th power in them. All the temperaments do, but again, each temperament has different strengths and different weaknesses, different needs, and different wants. And let me add, because God wired us with the temperament, nobody came out of the womb, bumped their head, and their temperament manifested. Your temperament was placed in you when God, don't let me start with Psalm 139, because I love it. And when God placed you in the womb, purpose was placed inside of you. Your temperament was wired inside of you. And so when you come out of the womb, it's just the world we get caught up in. But let me add that each temperament, each temperament has to be met. Your temperament is going to be met. Your needs, your wants, your strengths, and your weaknesses, they are going to be met, either in a godly way or an ungodly way. Because there's a need, there's a want, there's a strength, there's a weakness. You don't have nothing to do with it. It's inside of you. If you don't understand these things about you, especially women, men as well, but my lane is women, you find yourself going around the mulberry bush. Is that the way you sing that song? That was a long time ago. I don't even remember the melody to that. But anyway, you get the point. You keep going around in circles. All right. The melancholies usually have a high degree of perfectionist tendency, especially in regards to their own lives or performances. Melancholies are hard on themselves. They are so want perfection that they don't give themselves a break. And let me just add this. There's nothing and no one that is perfect. So if you feel, we're talking right now, that you're a melancholy, give yourself a break, would you? There is the realm that you're reaching for doesn't exist. That level does not exist. Melancholies have that high degree. They don't give themselves a break. They beat themselves up. They tend sometimes to deal with depression quietly, right? They deal with depression. They also deal with anger. Melancholy has a way of saying, oh, my feelings are hurt. I'm like, no, you're angry. No, they mask words. They mask that their feelings are hurt instead of them saying, I'm angry. So that causes them to be entrapped in their own being again because they're not being true to themselves and they'll never be free. I hope this is helping somebody. They are also very introspective and hold themselves to a high standard. I said that. One that can rarely be achieved. They tend to be highly organized, schedule oriented, economical, tidy, neat, detailed, finish what they start. They like charts and graphs and figures and lists. Sadly, here's a down part. Many melancholies are also victims of bouts of depression that come from people who have dissatisfaction and disappointed, hurtful words or events. I'm going to stop there. Melancholies are people who have deep love for others while usually holding themselves in contempt. Did you hear me? Did you get that? I think I need to say that again for the people in the back. What you said? You say it again? I'm going to say it again. Said they tend to be highly organized, but melancholies are also victims of deep bouts of depression that come from great dissatisfaction, disappointment, hurt words, or events. Melancholy personalities are people who have a deep love for others while usually holding themselves in contempt. They have to learn to give themselves a break. Nothing is perfect. Give yourself a break. Ine says, wow, this is so accurate. And you haven't even done the profile.
I just wanted to say I didn't know you was going to be telling all my business, but
What?
I just wanted to say I didn't know you was going to be telling all my business, but
Am I telling your business, Pache?
okay.
Am I telling your business? Well, listen, sidebar. Pache took this because they have them for children and for adults. And she was around 9 years old, right? I have 3 daughters. And
No,
she
I was older than that.
You might maybe 10. You wasn't that old. Or maybe you might have been around 10. You wasn't like teenager yet.
Yes, I was.
I don't believe you were. But anyway, we're not going to stop there. But the point is that when she took it, she was a young girl. And at the time, she understood some of it, but she had not grown into being an adult. So as she has evolved into an adult, she started understanding more about her profile. Like, oh, yeah, this is me. Oh, this is why. And so, like I said, you told on yourself. I did not tell your temperament. I still haven't said your temperament yet.
No, I said part of it, which is fine. Part of me is
you just told part of it. You told part of it. Let's move on to the next temperament, and then we're going to go to our chart. Let's talk about the phlegmatic. The phlegmatic is the cousin or the twin to the melancholy. The phlegmatic is the peacemaker. The phlegmatic is the person who is very laid back. You'll find them in the background running companies, but they don't want to be up front. Don't put them on the front line. They don't want the attention. You know, they don't need the attention. Remember, we're talking about needs, wants, strengths, and weaknesses. So the phlegmatic temperament is fundamentally relaxed and quiet, ranging from warmly attentive to lazily sluggish. Phlegmatics are referred to as the watcher. They're the ones that's chill. Anybody have a group, have a tribe, and you got that one person who is so chill that you don't even know they're in the room. They just chilled. They like, right? Anything jump off, they want to bring peace, right? They are best in positions of unity and mediation. Well, go figure. And solid in positions that desire steadiness. They need consistency. The phlegmatic is most often a female or male who tends to be easygoing, content with herself, calm, cool, and collected, tolerant of others, well-balanced, sympathetic, kind, unassuming, keeps emotions hidden. That may be a weakness. Is happily reconciled to life, They're not in a hurry. Phlegmatics may get on your last nerve because they move slow. You'd be like, would you come always late? Well, where is she? She coming. She in the house. She's always looking. She's still moving slow. Phlegmatics move slow. If you think of, remember we opened up talking about Hippocrates, how he came up with this. Phlegmatics, the word phlegm. I hate to do this, but here's an illustration. The phlegm. Phlegm moves slow. That's how Hippocrates, the sanguine is the blood. He got all of this from the bile of the human being. So phlegmatic, you know what that word phlegm means. So not in a hurry, has many friends, avoids conflicts, inoffensive, quiet but witty, agreeable and intuitive. They can, they can shy away from conflict and, suffer silently. Phlegmatics also are the type of people, if they're not at work and they say they're on a job break, this is just an example, and they've been looking for work and they can't find work, but they're at home with the remote control and they're on that couch. Keisha said, you all over me and my hubby. The phlegmatics sitting on the couch with the remote, they just flipping. And so the family's like, that dude ain't get no job yet. She didn't get no job yet. She's lazy. He's lazy. Beep. Nope, they're not lazy. It's the phlegmatic. It's how they're wired. See how we put labels on people when we don't even know what we're saying. So the best thing that could happen for a phlegmatic is someone can call them and say, I have a job interview for you tomorrow. And they'll be like, really? Now they're alive. So phlegmatics need something outside of them to draw them out of that space that everyone's saying they're bored and they're boring and they're lazy. Phlegmatics need something outside to draw them. So remember that somebody is not always lazy. The temperament, I want you guys to get this. The temperament is everything. And understanding relationship, marriages, your children. Like Pache was saying earlier, when we did her temperament and my other two girls, the light went off for me. Yes, Jesus. That's why they're the way they are. They're so different. But I understood. So I had to stop pressing them in certain areas because I was violating them. The example, there's two babies, there's two cribs, say twins or not twins. One baby got the rattle in the crib, and the other baby is like this. Two different temperaments, two different needs. One baby, you could, like we were talking about our new set of twins that's in our family, right? How old are they? 3 months?
Yes.
One of the twins is pulling on the sister. They're two girls, and she's all over the place, and she's smiling and moving. And ever since I've seen these babies, the other one is just laying there.
Yep.
You can tell already how they're wired. Just like when, in days of old, when in the Old Testament days of old, when, they were naming their children. They didn't name their children when they came out the womb. They let them they watched their behavior. They watched their behavior before they gave them a name, right? So we have to understand all of these things matter. Let's keep it moving. The phlegmatic, I'm going to say a little bit more about the phlegmatic. They are wonderful at gathering facts and classifying them and seeing the relationship between them. Basically, they are good at generalizing, seeing the bigger picture and reading between the lines. They are accepting, affectionate, frequently shy, often prefer stability to uncertainty and change because they are fearful and indecisive and hesitant of things in life. Remember, you can be a phlegmatic melancholy. That means you're a double introvert. Hopefully, well, I won't say hopefully. When I said about learned behavior and environmental impact, if you have a phlegmatic melancholy, that tells you right there, that's a person who's very introverted, very quiet. But say they grew up in a house with a lot of siblings and their house had a lot of traffic with cousins and uncles. What happened then is that as they were introverted, because of their family dynamic, they were stretched to where they become an adult. They're not your average melancholy phlegmatic who would be in a house with no traffic and no family. I hope that made sense. Did that make sense? Pache?
It made sense.
It makes sense. Right. So we have to understand needs and wants and strengths and weaknesses. So they could be described as considerate, charitable, sympathetic, trusting, warm, calm, relaxed. Yeah. Phlegmatic men and women strive for greater self-knowledge and seek to contribute to society at large. I don't know if some of you are familiar with Joyce Myers. She comes on. She's a very well-known minister, and she has a great platform. Joyce is a choleric, and she always uses herself as an example of how crazy and mean and selfish she was. And God started telling her, give this away, give that away. And she was like, that's my new shoes. That's my this, that. I'm not. She said she was horrible. But her husband, Dave, is a phlegmatic. Total opposite. But guess who runs her ministry? That huge ministry that's all over the world, Dave. And Dave used to let Joyce have tantrums because she's so strong and bossing all her children would run away from her, run out the house because she could not be lived with because cholerics are so strong. But each temperament has those strengths and those weaknesses. There's no good or bad. Let me go on. We have one more, right? Is it one more?
One more.
Which is the
Sanguine.
Sanguine. Whoa, Miss Sanguine. All right, Miss Sanguine is party. Hey, party. Sanguines, take them to the party. Give them the people, the noise, the people, and the people. Sanguines need people. Here's an alert for women who are sanguines. Sanguines need such an amount of love that there is no human being on this earth that can feed the need of a sanguine woman. That's why you will find women who are with this one and that one, the sanguine woman, who's over here. Then she leaves that man. Then she's over there. All the time, she's looking for love. This is the woman that people would call a hoe. Excuse my French, but let's talk and keep it real. This is the girl that you would call loose. This is the girl, when she walks in the club, the rest of the women be like, who does she think she is? Because she comes in and she arrives, and you know that she arrived. Because she what? Needs the attention. She don't want it. She needs it. Remember I said every temperament is needs and wants, strengths and weaknesses. So the sanguine really needs to be a believer because only God can fill that void. Only God can give her the amount of love that she needs. But understanding who she is, that red light will go off on her and she'll learn to check herself. She'll learn how to check that behavior. Sanguines. Let's talk about Miss Sanguine, Mr. Sanguine. The sanguine temperament is fundamentally impulsive and pleasure-seeking. Sanguines are referred to as the talker. They are expressive in personality, desire influence, and being enthusiastic with people, and expressing thoughts with excitement, and being the center of attention. The center of attention. The sanguine is sociable and charismatic, generally warm-hearted and pleasant, lively. You want a sanguine at the party because they'll turn it up and get you on the dance floor. Yes, they will. Optimistic, creative, compassionate, and outgoing. He or she is the life of the party. They're humorous and enthusiastic and cheerful. He or she easily attracts others and makes friends. Not like the melancholy. The melancholy only need one friend. Let's go to the park, have a sandwich, me and my best buddy. Melancholy don't need a crew of girls. Sanguine needs a crew. That's the difference, the needs and the wants. He or she is sincere at heart, always childlike, creative and colorful, possesses energy and she wants everyone to join into fun. She or he is sincere at heart, creative. The sanguine likes to talk a lot, struggles with completing tasks, is chronically late. I said chronically late because they over there, they somewhere they're not supposed to be. Yes, they are. They tend to forget their obligation. He or she bases his decisions primarily on feelings. Here's what gets the sanguine in some hot water is the feelings. They're looking for love. All right, let me give you a quick example. I had someone come in my office. She was someone in the church I used to be in. And her mother had 13 children, and she was the last one. And so when she was around her mother used to say, girl, get off my skirt. Go on out there, get away. I guess mommy was tired after 13 kids, right? But she received it as rejection, right? Because she was a sanguine. When she took this profile, she sat there and cried because she was set free. Because now she understood why she went to jail, why she went with women, why she had married this one, because all the time she needed love. She needed love. So sanguine have a high need of love. And she sat there and we did this profile. And so after telling her temperament, I said, you're a sanguine, such and such. And I broke it down. And we began to open up the sessions talking about all the things that she did. And everything that we landed on was because she needed the attention and she was chasing love. So that's why they say they're about feelings. So when people and women get to understand their temperament, they know how to check themselves, right? Because your temperament doesn't change. It won't change, but your behavior will, because you understand how you're wired. Makes sense? Let the church say, whoop, whoop. All right. This type of personality loves the life of luxury and impressing others. They'll be in the mall spending the rent money and go home and be, oops. They want the shoes, the latest shoes. They want, thank you so much. Thank you. I'm glad it's blessing you, Keisha. They want the shoes. They want the Gucci. They want everything. It's nothing wrong with those things. But sanguines will get in trouble because they'll spend the rent money and stuff and be like, oops, I made a mistake. They are big spenders. They love to travel the world and indulge in rich, comfortable living. There's nothing wrong with that if you got it like that. There's nothing wrong with that if you got it like that and you're not causing problems. The sanguine, I wish this was an open forum where we could I could get some feedback. Oh yeah, Innate, see, Innate, the Bravette is always with me. Woo, woo. Bravettes are in the house. We got Bravettes on Facebook and the Bravettes are in the chat. All right, Pache, let's go to the next slide. All right, so here's a quick breakdown of what I just said. And if you have any questions, please drop them in the chat, that's funny. The chat, even on Facebook, if you have some questions, please. Let me see if any questions are here. Okay. All right, let's keep going. Where we go. The melancholy. I said anxious, worried, unhappy, suspicious, serious, and thoughtful. That's the emotional downside of the melancholy. That's what kind of creeps at a melancholy. That's what kind of speaks to the melancholy, right? So when you understand this about yourself, you allow yourself to pray about and allow God to get in your weakness and make your weakness a strength. Again, your temperament will never change. It'll never change. You'll just learn how to understand yourself. Like Pache was saying, she began to understand herself and say, oh, there's nothing wrong with me. If a melancholy wakes up kind of moody in the morning, leave her alone. Leave him alone.
Please.
Leave them alone. All they need is their own little space to get their self, like my mother used to say, to get your
bearings. Got to let them get their bearings together.
Leave them alone. A melancholy also, when they come from work or they've worked, they need to come in the house and they need to unwind by themselves. They need space to just sit for a minute and get and unwind. But in the morning time, they're not evil. They're not, those labels must go. This is how they're wired. So their need is, they need what? To get their
bearings together
in the morning. So let them be. If your husband is moody, let him be moody and just learn his ways, right? He may be moody. You may be loud and energetic. So what happens? There has to be a balance. But when y'all know about each other, then you'd be like, oh yeah, let me just leave him alone. Or she might turn some music on in another room or whatever. Okay. Someone said, that's my 12-year-old. I don't see who made that. I think that's Keisha's comment. Yes, leave them alone. Don't make your kids go in the park with a whole bunch of other kids and all the time because you think something wrong with them because they're reading a book in the room or they're in their quiet space. Let them be. Don't violate them. Drag them out. Go on outside with your brother and your sister. You just violated the kid because you took them out of their space that they were cool in and threw them into the den with all these running wild kids. And that's not what they need. Remember, needs want. All right, let's look at the choleric on the right. It says quickly roused, ego, egocentric, exhibitionist, hot-headed, histrionic, and active. This is a choleric. Cholerics are movers, they're doers, they're shakers. Let's go, let's do it, let's do it, let's do it. Right? So the choleric, if they're married to a melancholy, the choleric has to give the melancholy some grace. And the melancholy has to give the choleric some grace because they're two extremes. They're two extremes. The choleric has to learn how to allow people to be in their not yetness, or to be just who they are and not expect them to be like they are. Same thing, each temperament, the compromise, especially when you're married. Let's go down to the phlegmatic. It says reasonable, high principled, controlled, persistent, steadfast, and calm. Phlegmatics are chill. They're steady, persistent. They're controlled because they don't get in your way, don't get in their way, they don't get in your way. Sometimes it's like they don't exist. You want to stick them with a pin. Are you alive? Right? Because they're so chilled, and we need them. We need phlegmatics. Sanguines, party, hey. The sanguine, playful, easygoing, sociable, carefree, hopeful, and contented. They are beautiful people. We need the sanguines. Sanguines are the life of the party. But again, we need each temperament. That's why God made us so different. Psalm 139 talks about, people say, well, what's the foundation of this teaching and what you talk about? Read Psalm 139 and you'll see it in the word of God, that God wired us like this. That's the foundation. All right. What do we have, Pache?
Next slide.
Go for it. Let's see what Deb says here first before we do that. She says, my mother named me 1 year after my birth. Deb, I didn't know that. That's what they did back in the days of old. They watched their children behavior before they named them. The other day, I felt prompted to get on my Christian channel. I want to say my ministry channel, and talk about the power of your name. You know, when I taught this Purity with Purpose 13-week intense class for women, we got towards the end of the program, and we did do the temperament profile. It was a piece of it. And I'm telling you, it was, we did a name search, and everyone started looking up their names and was amazed at how their names, the meaning of their names, really represented who they were, the jobs they do. It's just amazing how your names are empowered already in you. People, I don't like that name. Well, look up your name and tell me how much power. My name, Sheila, actually means heavenly. Go figure. My last name, Ingram, means noble. So you have to look at all these things that God has placed. Sometimes our moms and fathers or whoever named you didn't know why they attached that name to you. You think about in the Bible, Moses. Moses means drawn out. Who would ever think that? Who was going to put him in the river? Did anybody know that before he was born? He was in the river, and his name means drawn out. So when you look at things like that, you know, it really means something. Everything that is attached to us, we have to start embracing everything, including our temperament. So the sanguine is the talker. She says, and he says, where's the fun? Cheerful, outgoing, and fun-loving. I said that. The choleric is the doer. The phlegmatic, the peaceful phlegmatic, is the watcher. The perfect melancholy is the thinker, the thinker. And so what I want you to understand that, and is that our last slide? Not yet, right? You have one more?
One more.
I want you to understand the power of your temperament, the power of how you're wired. I want you to understand that you have strengths, you have weaknesses, you have needs, and you have wants. They're not going anywhere. And when you don't understand how you're wired, I'm telling you, you will constantly be doubting yourself with certain things. You'll constantly say, what's that we used to say, Pache? What's wrong with me?
Mm-hmm.
What's wrong with me? There is absolutely nothing wrong with you. If you were in a session with me, that's the first thing I would tell you. One thing you'll never say again, and don't ever let me hear you say, is what's wrong with me. That means you're saying God made a mistake. That means you're saying God didn't know what he was placing in you. Everything you need. You may say, why am I so laid back? You may have envy for people who are outgoing and bubbly, and you're the one, the quiet one in the classroom all the time, and you took that on as a negative. It's not a negative. It's just who you are. You don't need what other people need. Now, in every temperament, there is some balancing out, right? And remember, you're a blend. You cannot be 100% phlegmatic. You can't be 100% melancholy. You cannot be 100% sanguine or choleric. There is a blend. And the dominant, that's what Pache was just talking about earlier. The dominant temperament is your first temperament, your live. That's where you flow out of almost with everything. That's what you were saying, right?
Yes.
You flow out of that area with everything. But if you have a number like 22, and then on the profile, the next column, because each column has all four of these temperaments, and each column will have a number based on how you've answered. I can't do that now because, of course, you have to take the profile, but I wanted to give you just this, to give you something to think about and to let you know there is nothing wrong with any of you. So if you're a sanguine and you're a 20, and you're a choleric and you're 18, woo, he or she is powerful. 2 extroverts. But then you may have a 15 and a melancholy, which you need. If you're a high number in sanguine and a high number in choleric, you need something to mellow you out. So you need that melancholy to kind of get in there and kind of stretch you out. Because with the 2 sanguine cholerics, you out there, you're very, very forceful. That's why we're blended. We have a blend. And one thing I never do is when someone takes this and is private or whatever, notice I never said what Pache is. She just offered a piece of hers, because sometimes when people understand the temperament you are, like I've had husband and wives, they want to take it together. No, you can't take it together. She can take it and you can take it, and then you can agree to share the information. Right? Because it's private and people can use the information against you if they're not in your best interest. They sure can. Just like some of the kids that have taken this. They said, well, Miss Sheila said that I'm an introvert and I don't have to come outside. I didn't say that. I did not. Don't you manipulate it. So a lot of times women say, oh, that's why I'm like that. Don't manipulate it. Don't use it as an excuse to do what you want to keep doing. Let it check you and give you a barometer to stop you or to help you get to the place I call there. So next one, Pache. All right, here we go with the blend. And we talked about the blend just now, right? The outgoing, optimistic, outspoken. So we see the 2, the choleric, the lead, and then we see the analyze with the phlegmatic and the perfect melancholy, right? We see I can't even see the words. The artistic, emotional. I see it. Melancholies are very artistic. You might find melancholies buried in music and literature and going to museums, and just her or him and one person or 2 people. You don't really see them going with a crew, not unless they're part of a group. Melancholies can go out. They can go to the church or the club or the this or the that. But one thing about melancholies too, like especially in the church, saints is always, oh, bless you, sister. Mwah. They touchy-feely. Melancholy would be like, oh, enough of that. Why are you laughing, Pache?
Because that's me.
That's a big part of you. And it's not because you don't like people. You don't need them like that. In the melancholy's house, you're not going to find the doorbell ringing 1, 2, ring, ring, knock, knock, ring, ring. You will not find that. Now, if the melancholy happens to be married to a sanguine, she in trouble. Because guess what they say about sanguines? Sanguines keep their shoes at the door. Because if the phone ring and the boys say, yo, we on the basketball court shooting jumpers, they leave the house. They don't even say, could have been vacuuming in the house having a family day. Sanguine is gone. Why? Because they need people. And now the melancholy is totally pissed off because she doesn't need people. So now the household becomes what? Toxic. Because why? They don't understand each other. The melancholy don't need people. They love people. The sanguine love people and need people. It's so funny. It is so funny when you see the dynamics of people. How many people came in and says, I want a divorce? I mean, why? The one lady came in, she was like, I can't take it anymore. I'm like, okay, what's going on? She says, look, every time we go out, I told him I don't like going to these Christmas parties with him. So in my head, I'm saying like, okay, we're talking about a Christmas party. Last year he did it. The year before last he did it. What did he do? Invited you to the party? Yes. But when he invited me to the party, he left me at the table with people I don't even know because he's a social butterfly. That same one was in the middle of the dance floor, left his wife because he needed that. She didn't. But he violated her when he left her at the table with strangers because she's not going to warm up to people just like that because melancholies are very guarded. So you see how things get distorted. They get so distorted in relationships. Let me see what Deb is saying here. Let's see what she's saying, Pache. This has been a learning experience for me. Thank you. Sorry that I have to leave due to pride commitment. Go ahead, Deb. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. Appreciate your presence. We're almost at a close anyway. So, yeah, this, I just want you to understand how you're wired. Lisa says she's got to rewatch it. Amen. This is, you need to know your needs, your wants, and your strengths and your weaknesses. And when you learn them and understand them, you allow yourself to mess up a little bit. You allow yourself to continue to grow instead of saying, what is it, Coco? What's wrong with me? There is nothing wrong with you. Deb says her name means bee. And yes, she's always busy. And Roz Spriggs is on. She's putting a thumbs up. Yes, this, bless you, Ine. Ine says this was awesome. This, I hope it gave you just some understanding of how the Lord has wired his people, has wired us. He's wired us all differently. In Psalm 139, I wish I had opened up my Bible. I could have just read that verse to kind of close with that, about how you're fearfully and wonderfully made. God does not make mistakes. Just understanding your needs and your wants and stop allowing people to violate you, and women. Understanding you can't just marry anybody. You have to, there has to be more than just a feeling. There has to be a connection. There has to be a connection. Yes? Yeah. So you want to say something, Pache?
No, it was good. It was informative.
Yeah.
I did want to say, well, your grandson and my nephew is so funny because knowing the temperaments, we watch his behavior. We be like, oh, he got some of that in him. Oh, yeah. He got a lot of that in him.
Yes.
So kids, and where did he get it from? His mama. So
right.
So we get to see it. It's like, okay, we already know what we're going to be dealing with.
Right.
And understanding it, even though he's 2.
You get to see the traits of the behavior, correct.
And we understand
he's a people person.
So you can't be like, sit down. No, go ahead. That's who he is. He has
to. Can't violate it.
Do it. So you have to let him go. But had we not understood that, what's wrong with this boy? This boy don't sit down. Yeah. And I was there the other day walking in Walmart. Cute little boy, had to be no more than 4. One was in the shopping cart, and he's just running around picking up stuff. And his mom's like, put that down. You don't even eat that. He said, yes, I do. She said, he's so bad. I said, he's not bad. She said, right, I shouldn't call him bad. Mischievous. Yeah. I said, right now, he's not bad. He's doing what he's supposed to do. Right. So what I instructed her to do, I said, put him in different activities. Then you will see what lane he belongs in.
Absolutely.
What his need is.
Right.
You won't get this behavior out of him because he's doing what he wants to do. He's doing what makes him thrive. He's in his purpose at this point. I said, put him in basketball, put him in painting, put him in tennis.
Absolutely.
Put him in a variety of things to see what he gravitates towards.
Absolutely. That was good.
And she was like, oh, yeah.
That was awesome. She needed that.
Yeah, she was like,
see, a sister, a woman. No, but see how you can drop a jewel to a stranger that is really having a problem, taking care of this kid because this kid is like too much.
Because
moving here, moving here.
he's going to get out the lady way. He said,
by you talking to her and sharing with her, she said, there she went with the oh. So you pretty much was saying, don't stop him. Just try to measure where he is and who he is. Psalm 139. She did it. Okay.
What you said, don't put the label on him.
Yeah.
You're him bad. You're speaking that into him. He's
right.
not
Lisa says, my friend criticizes his mom so much because he feels she is not goal-oriented. However, she may be peaceful. Yes. Phlegmatic. Peaceful, phlegmatic. Mm-hmm. He is so hard on her. Yes, Lisa. Yes. This is what I'm saying. Absolutely. When you don't understand somebody, it doesn't mean that you can label them or say they're lazy or they're this or they're that. They're just wired differently. And if you approach them in the right way, then it'd be like you did with the lady, right? You just went, you didn't come and tell her what to do. You came in with the love of God where she received it from you, and then you walked away. You must have felt good because you helped her.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that was you helped her. Right? What'd you say?
Because he was standing, he wouldn't let me go with the shopping cart. So she said, are you going to let the lady buy? He said, no. He's just so bad. I said, he's not bad.
Yeah.
He's not bad. And then she started listening. And one thing I did say, I said, put him in cooking. She said, he loves to cook.
Because he's with the food. He was grabbing stuff. Maybe that's what was in his head.
Right. I said, okay. Start there. I said, but put him in different activities.
Yes, absolutely.
What he gravitates towards. Yeah. And then you'll know. And then you won't have this behavior.
Absolutely. That was awesome.
Glory doing what he wants to do.
Rod says that was good advice. Don't label. That's right. We cannot label.
Especially babies.
Yeah, right. You can't.
Especially
babies. Exactly. And you got to let them explore and let them be who they are. Like I said, don't try not to violate your children if you have more than one, because you don't understand one or the other and you want one to do what the other is doing. You have to pay attention. It goes all the way back to what I said, the two babies in the crib. One responds with joy and laughter. The other one is just chill. They don't need the rattle, So right there, that shows you the different temperament. And I know for me, this set me free when Lisa says she raised 8 children. And that I explained could be a goal, being a good mother. He turned out just fine. Amen, Lisa.
Good.
Yep, she might be a phlegmatic because she flows like that, laid back or whatever. And when I like I said early on, how I got introduced to this, Keisha says both my boys are so different. Yep, that's what we're talking about. That's what we're talking about. And as I learned about this, what drew me into a counseling center was a terrible, terrible situation I was going through in my life. And it was the best thing. The Lord had ordered my steps for sure. And then I fell in love with, I had always been a counselor or talking to people. I would always be off somewhere chatting with people. We'd be out, even in the club. Where's Sheila? She over there talking to that girl. But your gifts always be stirring up even when you're in your BC days, right? And as I found out about this temperament profile and I took the profile, I cried tears of joy and tears of laughter. It was a double cry. This tear was for joy. This tear was for sorrow. They were both coming out at the same time. As sorrowful for all the time I had wasted and didn't know anything that I needed to know. I didn't know these jewels. And then joyful because devil, you're not going to get me again because I got the answers now. I see how I'm wired. I can now, even now as an adult, at the age that I am, I still have to be careful of my temperament, of me swaying on the weakness side, right? Because remember, your temperament don't change. So I give myself this in my head. I go beep, 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 beep. I beat my own self. Girl, where you going? What you doing? You've been and done that. Don't you do that? Where you going? You know what's over there. Nothing changed. Right? So you have to gauge yourself, right? You have to gauge everything in yourself. So when I did this, I tell you, it changed my life and it has changed people's lives across the world, not just in the US. I've done this in Amsterdam. Somebody's laughing at my beep, beep, beep. In Amsterdam and Curacao. I've done this for women wherever I go, because we need each other. It's like you helped that. I'm so proud, daughter, that you helped that lady in that supermarket or wherever you were in the supermarket.
In Wally World.
And you took where?
In Wally World.
What's Wally World?
Walmart.
Oh. Okay.
Walmart is Wally World.
Okay. My child moved down to the South, and now
it's been Wally World though. Before
you didn't call no Wally World when you was in New York.
Yeah, it's Wally World.
No, you don't. With a little bit of South done rubbed off just a little bit.
Yeah.
Just a little bit. Ain't nothing wrong with the South. You can't say that.
I'm here.
You cannot say that on the screen. You can't say nothing negative.
Wrong. That's why I came here. That's why I'm here.
Oh God.
And I do want to say
something.
Keisha
said, I didn't know that. LOL. Wally wow. See? All right, guys. Listen, this has been so awesome. All right, Bravettes, and all of you that stopped by, Sir Hale, I hope all of you who have never been here, I hope y'all hit that thumbs up. Sometimes I come off of these lives and not one thumbs up, not one hit, not one like, not one subscribe. But most of you have been here with me, so it's all good. But travel on over. Thanks for the hearts. Travel on over and give some thumbs up and some subscription to the Sheila Ingram ministry broadcast. Right? I'm not going to say it's across the street because somebody said I confused them. Like, where? It's these YouTube streets. All right. I got so many hearts over here on Facebook. Nice. I love you guys so much. Listen, all of you over here in YouTube, happy Friday, happy Holy Friday, happy everything. Make sure you worship him in spirit, and make sure you lift your hands and give him glory. Make sure you honor and exalt his holy name because he is worthy to be praised. Listen, it's his time, it's his season, and we are happy to be here. I love you guys. Yes, Lisa, the YouTube streets, come hang out with me in these streets. We're going to get Lisa on the platform. Tune in on Tuesday. We are doing the fatherless daughter syndrome. The fatherless daughter syndrome. We have 4 or 5 women already committed to come on the platform, and it's going to be a time. It might be emotional, but that's okay. We need to talk. Each story is different. Each story is going to help somebody understand that you can still be all you can be, even without that father experience. So 7:00 on Tuesday. That's going to be something, Pache. What you think?
Interesting. A lot of different stories, different perspectives, insights, healing.
Yeah, that's what we want.
Healing. So yeah, it's going to be good.
Yeah, it's going to be good. So I'm excited about it. Let me see. Someone just put a new comment in YouTube. Let's see. Okay, Roz gave us some. Roz put up some hearts. And then she said Walmart. I guess she was telling me what it was. She down in the South, so she know what that is. Keisha said Coach Pache is so laid back. Yeah, she's not like her mama. She is in a sense, though. She's a clown. She when she get in her moment, she is kind of laid back, though. She is kind of laid back. Yes, she is. She's so funny, though. She got
that melancholy.
But you're not 100% melancholy. I don't know why you keep claiming the melancholy.
That's the part I chose to share. 100%.
You didn't want to share. You didn't want to share the other part. Okay.
I didn't share the blend. I used the melancholy as an example.
You didn't share the blend. That is correct. You didn't give that top dominant, but you gave the melancholy is a high number. You are hilarious, girl. Oh, this was awesome. Anyway, I love you guys. Listen, stay well. I'm going to play an outro. But before I say ciao, I'm going to do this. Something's not showing on my
play.
Oh, I didn't see it. Well,
It played.
at the count of three, let's say ciao. 1, 2, 3. Oh, you want to do deuces?
No, I said 1, 2, 3.
Ciao.
Ciao.
All right. You
Woo.
still on camera. You still.
Really? Really? You think you want to stop the live, Patricia?